Hi, I'm Peter Rose, founder of Longwood Currency Trading. What can Forex traders learn from Genghis Khan? That's a pretty good question, huh? The hell am I talking about? Genghis Khan said, "It is insufficient that I win. Others must lose." Wow. It is insufficient that I win. Others must lose. Do you see how commanding and dynamic that is? One of the most famous or infamous people in all of recorded history. And he was successful at, maybe the wrong thing, but he was successful at his goal beyond all conceivable recognition. It's because he had absolute confidence. He had absolute direction of purpose. He had absolute focus. And he had an absolute refusal to accept anything except total victory. Those were his strengths. But they were also his weaknesses. Genghis Khan is one in a zillion people. We can loudly proclaim as quarterback of the football team how great we are, and we're going to just throw the ball, and maybe 1 in 20 professional quarterbacks can rise to Tom Brady, for example, type level. That doesn't say that they're not good. They're outstanding, but they're not Tom Brady. They're not Genghis Khan. So what can we learn as Forex traders from Genghis Khan? Because our goal is to win, to decimate the Forex market so that we can gather money. Well, it's a lot simpler for us as Forex traders to win a lot of money because there's so many stupid people that are trading Forex as retail traders. There's no stupid investment bankers or hedge fund traders or what we call institutional traders. They're all retail traders. Of the $10 trillion a day market, this is May of 2026, it's $10 trillion a day. Vastly more on a daily volume than all the stock markets. When we look at that vastness of that market and the people that are trading it, those institutional traders constitute 95% of the volume. So we're only 5%. How do we compete with the institutional traders? In comparison to us, they're the Genghis Khans. And within that group, there are Genghis Khans that are Genghis Khans. The statistic that you want to think about is one that was brought about by a large major Forex broker many years ago. They did a study of 25,000 of their clients, 43 million transactions, and they found that 90% of traders lost 90% of their money in 90 days. That's a horrendous loss. Yes, we can look at that out of fear, but we can also look at that out of expectation. If we have any idea of what we're doing, if we have any plan at all, we shouldn't be part of that 90%. We should be part of the 10%. And if we are better educated than anybody else in that 10%, we should be in the 1%. Even being in the 10% as winning anything is a huge victory. The process that I begin my fast-track currency trading students out, I have a course that's 6 weeks called Fast Track, and it takes you from knowing something about Forex trading. You can't come to me as a beginner. Well, you could, and I'll work with you, but it's going to be very difficult for you because I'm very demanding. But if you come with some experience to build on, then in a 6-week period of time, we can get you reorganized in what you know, throw out the stuff that's unnecessary, and then start building a foundation of risk management and trading principles based on that those fundamental principles. That alone is enough to get you into that 10%. Because if you have a handle on risk management, then you're all set. Do you think Genghis Khan was successful just because he was a crazy fucker running around in the fields, waving a banner and telling everybody that he'd kill them if they didn't kill the enemy? You think that's how it worked out? No. He had better risk management than his enemies did. Sun Tzu, the Chinese warrior, wrote about that. Or one of the things that he said is that every battle is won or lost before it's fought. And that if you are facing an enemy of superior capability, then you run. You don't engage. And so your success at anything that we see out there is based on your ability to avoid catastrophic risk. In trading, we call that the risk of ruin. If you lose 50% of your money, it's going to take you 100% just to get back to even. So if you can't hang on to 50%, you're not going to be able to hang on to the remaining 50%. That's just the way it goes. So if you don't build a good foundation in your trading, then you're not going to be Genghis Khan. You're not going to triumph. You're not going to have the confidence and the direction of purpose and the focus that's necessary in order for you to be a 10% winning trader. Now, what is a winning trader? Well, if 90% of the people fail and you start out the year at even and you end up the year $10 ahead, that's better than 90% of the people if you just have $10 ahead. You know, Rob Booker used to be a big FOREX trader. He made something like, I don't know, $7 million trading FOREX. He's doing stocks now. I don't know why he's doing that. But anyway, his whole premise when he'd get up to teach was, I'm just trying to make $1 a day. You can make $1 a day, you're a success. You take a $500 account, you make $1 a day, and you trade 500 times a year, you've doubled your money. So it's the ability to say, if I could do this, I would get this. That's what the Fast Track course says. If you can have these win-to-loss ratio and average win value and the different metrics that I teach, if you can have those things, then you can be successful. You can be a 60% or an 80% percent gain against your risk on a yearly basis. 120% the math goes up to. And once you do advanced stuff, you could get 300% on your money in a year or less. But the one thing that all of that planning and trading and learning can't do for you is replace a good solid risk management foundation. If you don't have good risk management, it doesn't matter how good you are as a trader because you will lose more than you can make. And over the long run, you'll become part of that 90%. It doesn't do you any good to say, oh, I won this month and I won the month after that and I won the month after that. Oops, I lost my account. So I'm going to start the clock over. I'm going to refund my $2,000 account and then I'll start over. Great. What if you had a $200,000 account and you lost that? You just going to refund the bank and start over? I don't think so. And that's what happens to folks is they get lucky. They're not skillful. You're talking about Fibonacci numbers and Bollinger Bands and lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And none of that makes any sense. But some people think that they're using that stuff and they're not. They just learned what not to do. Now, they haven't codified that into a risk management plan. They use other crap to talk about risk management. They don't really understand the risk management. And it's simply learning what not to do. There's more to it than that, but it's learning what not to do. But not being able to recognize exactly what it is that you don't do so that you can recognize what to do, that's the mistake. And that's the mistake all of Genghis Khan's enemies made. They overestimated their ability. They had more numbers, they were stronger, they were badder, they were meaner, and whatever, but they didn't have the risk management plan that Genghis Khan had. I remember watching a video of Paul Tudor Jones trading. If you've never seen it, look for it. He keeps trying to take it down so nobody can watch it. But he's trading, and he's crazy. Hit me 10, give me 10, give me 10. Get on the phone. Don't walk away from the phone. Get on the phone. This is when they call the broker that was on the floor, and the broker would go and run into the ring and get the orders to the trader. And then the trader would say, okay, I got it. The guy would transmit that back on the phone to Tudor Jones. He'd say, give me 10 more, give me 10 more. And during that whole thing, they went back and forth, and he said, we only made $100,000 today, but that's okay. It was a good day. We only made $100,000 that day. Well, he was betting, millions and millions of dollars. So even if you made $400,000 for the day, that would be under the realm of pretty good. But he only made $100,000. But you see but if you see his expression on his face, it wasn't, oh, we only made $100,000 angry. You go, well, we only made $100,000 today, which means I was okay yesterday that I was able to stand up and bet the size of bank that I had in order to make that $100,000. And oh, by the way, I only made $100,000 today, but tomorrow maybe I'll make 400 or $1 million. And why do they base that statement on that? It's because they understand that they have limited their exposure to risk of ruin. You're always going to lose. How much do you lose and how many times do you lose it has to be factored into any equation that you put out in your trading plan. And that's what I stress in the beginning of the Fast Track program. What's the problem we got to solve? And once we identify that, is what's the worst case that we can face? It's risk of ruin. Oh, okay, can we eliminate that risk? Well, maybe not, because shit happens. I lost multiple six figures because shit happens. I was stupid. I've made six figures too. So I know the flux between making money and losing money. I was in real estate for 40 years. So I understand markets and process and all that stuff. And so a big loss to me is part of the game until you take that really big loss and then you go, oh shit, I can't refund my bank on that. I'm just going to have to work with what I got. If you're an active trader, 300 trades a year is active, you've got about an 8% chance of 6 losses in a row. You also have a chance of 6 winners in a row, but you don't count the winners. You think you earned the 6 winners. You think you're so smart. And it's right after those 6 winners that you get clipped with the 6 losses, and you add to them as they go down and build up. And you end up, instead of losing 6 times and dropping your bank 20 or 30%, you flatline. Why? Because you don't understand what Genghis Khan understood. It's insufficient that I win. Others must lose. That's the key. Others must lose. And so if you have any questions about this stuff, please feel free to send me an email and let's get a conversation going. This stuff is fascinating and I'd love to chat with you about it. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.